Am I the asshole for making our daughter, 17 female, clean our horses' stalls against her will? We recently got 2 horses. My younger daughter, 13 female, wanted them as she's been learning to ride. My older daughter, 17 female, was against them. She's much more princessy and didn't want to deal with the mess and chores that come with horses, but we told her it wouldn't be something she'd have to deal with and that her younger sister promised to take care of all of it. Well, recently the older daughter has been disrespectful at home and staying out too late, and her grades have been slipping. We warned her to shape up, but last week when we heard that she'd been needlessly insulting to her younger sister while I was running errands, I told her that she'd be cleaning out the stable each day for the next week as punishment, and that her sister would get a break. She got really upset and offended, and said we promised she'd never have to go in there or have to scoop horse poop. I said I promised it wouldn't be one of your chores, of course. But obviously a punishment is supposed to be something outside of your normal chores and something you won't like, and I thought it was perfectly fair here. She's been doing it 3 days now but seems to be very resentful of our broken promise, acting very disgusted, and keeps begging to get out of the rest of it. But I said I thought it's very fair and that she's overreacting. Am I the asshole? Too long did not read. Made older daughter clean stables as punishment despite saying she wouldn't have to. She thinks the punishment goes too far. Info. Horses are a pretty big gift. Does your oldest child get the same treatment as your youngest child? It could be resentment building up and causing her to act out. You are the asshole. You bought 2 horses for your younger daughter and promised the older daughter she wouldn't have to be involved in their care. You broke your promises. There were plenty of adequate and appropriate punishments available you could have given your daughter for staying out late and letting her grade slip. Are you deliberately trying to stir up resentment between the 2 sisters because this is how you get resentment between 2 sisters? So you're making her clean up shit as a punishment? Yeah, you are the asshole. You have deliberately chosen something you know she will hate. That's just spiteful. Punishment is revoking privileges or taking away electronics, maybe even grounding, loss of allowance. Not shoveling shit. You are the asshole. She is going to resent her sister more and trust your promises less. You should have kept your word and found an alternative punishment, which she deserves. You are the asshole. Why does your 13-year-old get a break from her responsibilities when the 17-year-old fucks up? I'm the scapegoat child of my family and I recommend you look at your biases. The 13-year-old has 2 horses and you think the 17-year-old is the princess. Am I the asshole for not making an effort to see all my kids? To begin with, I love all 3 of my children. I was shitfather when they were young and I didn't really get much better as we aged. I worked out of town and I never married any of their mothers. I did always pay child support and tried my best to give them meaningful gifts and experiences when they were growing up. I took them to the Calgary Stampede. I took them camping. I took an interest in their extracurricular activities. I went to their hockey and ringette games. I made sure I was at their high school graduations and I set aside money for university. The one that didn't go got an apprenticeship in my trade and used the money to buy a welding rig. I see him all the time. We have beers and I will stop by his house to see my grandchildren. His sisters are night and day. I let them know if I'm in the city and then leave it up to them. My oldest occasionally agrees to meet up with me and then spends a couple of hours berating me and shitting on me. For a long time I put up with it. Now I tend to pay the bill and leave. The youngest will invite me to her home and I will have dinner with her family. Recently my oldest found out from her brother that I had been in town for a few weeks and hadn't made an effort to see her. I was stuck in town getting medical shit done and I really didn't need her stressing me out. Her mom knows about what is going on with me and also didn't tell her I was in town. My oldest is pissed because I saw the other 2. I just don't need to be yelled at for the same thing for 2 hours. Not the asshole. For this specific question. But you sound like an asshole on general. Sounds like you've confused picking up the tab and checking in at a handful of events for being a dad. You showed up for the fun stuff and splashed some cash around, but that's not being a dad. Making sure the child support check clears isn't being a dad. You willfully excluded yourself from their lives because other things were more important to you, and now you're annoyed that one of them harbors some resentment over that. You tried to make sure your kids didn't hate you, but you were never a dad to them. The money you spent was just as much a salve for your own guilty conscience as it was a benefit for your kids. Sorry that you're experiencing some totally predictable cause and effect from that. You are the asshole. You are an aw, no question about it, but in this specific incident I'd say not the asshole. You are the asshole. You were a Disney dad, 2 let it slide, 1 didn't. Now you make no effort. Way to live up to low expectations. I guess some people never learned about condoms. Am I the asshole for telling my colleague he only has his job because his uncle is the CEO? I'm early 20 SF and last year started working at a major company. I entered this job through a scheme for disadvantaged young people. Despite this, the interview process was still incredibly tough and I'm proud to have made it this far. When I'm not with my team I hang out with the other girls I've met and befriended through that scheme. The nephew of the CEO started his role at our department a little later and for whatever reason has been joining us girls for lunches etc. He tries very hard to fit in and acts like he doesn't come from a place of insane privilege. He will literally pretend to be humble and downplay his family's wealth just to seem relatable, I guess. The others have been warming up to him, but I'm honestly not buying his rather fake personality. The other day I was sitting at the canteen with another coworker and he asked if he could join us. I didn't want that, but my coworker immediately said yes. Well, he was asking me lots of personal questions and about my journey to the company. I told him that the interview process was hard and mentally draining. He nodded and said that it's tough getting into the place but that his interviews were fine. Even laughing and saying he came late to one because of a hungover. This made me mad and I said, good for you. He thanked me and said that things always work out when you just chill out and stop taking things so seriously. This is when I said that we both know he's not nearly as competent as he believes and that he only got the job because his uncle is literally the CEO. My friend, coworker gasped and looked at me like I'm crazy. The nephew shrugged and said that I don't seem to like him. I told him that this wasn't a personal matter, so likes and dislikes are irrelevant. We didn't argue, but he got a little heated. And asking me what I want him to do. Then he said that I may view him as an overprivileged asshole, but I'm more or less the same, which makes no sense. So I fully expected him to report me to HR, but to my surprise he never did. In fact, he started following me on my social media accounts and messaging me at work more frequently. My coworker has relayed this incident to the other girls and the consensus is that I'm a major asshole. They said that not only was I unnecessarily hostile and rude, they're also mad he started hanging out with them less. Not sure if this is a coincidence, but I've also been spending less time with them. Am I the asshole for giving my unprompted opinions? You are the asshole. You disliked him from the start purely because of who his uncle is. Everyone else was warming up to him, but you flat out refuse. He's trying to fit it, being humble, and you hate him because of his family? Imagine how things could help if you're friends with the CEO's nephew. He was insensitive for his things work out fine if you just relax. Because this is true for people of privilege but not everyone else. And you were rude to say he's incompetent and undeserving of his job. Because it can be true that he only got the job because of his uncle and that he's actually competent at the job. Everyone here could have been a lot more diplomatic, but you were overtly rude. You are the asshole. It sounds like the only person trying to put him on a pedestal is you? You may have fought and worked hard to at your job. And grats to that. You earned it. But why are you so freaking hostile to this guy? You're looking for ways to spit venom at this guy. How dare he sit with his coworkers? Disgusting that he tries to be humble and downplay his upbringing. If he were an asshat and flaunting his family wealth, saying, "My uncle's the CEO. You better respect me," then yeah, I'd say screw that guy. Except he's not. You're the one wasting energy and potential by hissing at someone for factors they can't personally control. You want to hate him because you see him as your privileged enemy. Stop that. You're being a major asshole. Not the asshole who brags about showing up late and hungover to an interview. The nephew of a CEO, that's who. Anyone else who showed up late to an interview would not be back for a second. Granted, you probably put your job at risk and nepotism exists everywhere. Your coworkers aren't your friends. Do your job, get your money, and go home. You are the asshole. You're an inverted snob, act petty and sound jealous of someone's good fortune. You're a real keeper. Am I the asshole for getting a 15-year-old a gift she wanted instead of the one her mom wanted? This happened last weekend, but I'm still having arguments over this with my friend, so thought I'd come here to get some outside perspective and opinions. So last Saturday one of my coworkers and good friends was throwing a birthday party for her daughter and she invited me. I asked her what I should get her daughter and she said that I should get a karaoke machine. But a few days later when I was hanging out with my younger sister who is around the same age as my friend's daughter, I told her about that karaoke machine and she basically laughed at me and said that no one actually wants that, and she said I should just message her on IG and ask her what she wants instead of getting something she's gonna hate or not use. So that's what I did. She ended up sending me some links to some clothes and bags she liked and said that I should just choose one. They were all fairly expensive ones, so I just chose the cheapest bag on her list, which was still over €300, $320 for the Americans. Saturday comes and I end up giving her the bag, and my friend saw that I didn't get the gift she told me to and asked me about it. So I explained everything and she was very upset with me, saying that I shouldn't have messaged her daughter and that I should have just gotten the karaoke machine. We had a small argument and even her daughter told her that she never wanted a karaoke machine, but my friend still insisted I was a jerk for going behind her back. She didn't talk to me at all throughout the party, and even now a week later she constantly brings it up. So am I the asshole? Edit. A few people have misunderstood our relationship. We're not just coworkers. We've known each other for 7 years and we're good friends outside of work too. Edit 2. I've already mentioned this in one of my comments, but I still get this question, so yes, I'm a man. Not the asshole. Sounds like mom wanted the karaoke machine. Not the asshole, but spending €300 on someone else's underage daughter is weird as fuck. Then again, so is inviting a coworker to their underage daughter's birthday party. Maybe should have had your little sister reach out? Your coworker definitely just wanted the machine for herself, but her concerns about you contacting her daughter aren't unfounded. Sounds like a bad situation you should remove yourself from. Limit contact with your coworker and don't respond to any invitations from them. Not the asshole. You've been friends for 7 years. You've known the girl since she was 8. Don't care what others say, but as long as she invited you to her daughter's birthday, it means you are close friends and you should have mentioned it in the post. The way you wrote it makes it sound like you are just coworkers, and it honestly sounds creepy to text a coworker's teenager. I wouldn't mind one of my close friends texting my son to AKS about a present. It's his birthday after all. Not the asshole. Wow, she really wanted that karaoke machine. Tell her you'll keep it in mind for her birthday. Not the asshole. Your friend wanted a karaoke machine.